You have been lied to about the nature of loyalty. Society trains you to believe that betrayal is a sudden, unpredictable tragedy. It is not. It is a calculated, structural demolition that begins long before you feel the pain. The methodology you are about to learn comes from forensic behavioral profiling used in high-stakes counterespionage. It was scrubbed from civilian psychology because it destroys social cohesion. The system wants you trusting and compliant, not analyzing the people sleeping next to you. When you apply this filter, your perception of reality fractures. You will stop hearing words of affection and start seeing the mechanical gears of deception. You will watch their syntax decay, their empathy rot, and their micro-expressions leak the truth weeks before they make their move. The illusion of love dissolves, leaving only raw, cold data. You will see the knife before it is even sharpened. But this clarity comes with a permanent cost. Once you activate the Judas protocol, you kill the ability to trust blindly. You will never be a victim again, but you will never be innocent again. If you prefer the comfort of the lie, close this now. 95% of people have already clicked away. They are not built for this level of reality. You are still here. That makes you the exception. Signal your intent to survive. Subscribe now. Let's begin the protocol. Chapter 1. Why betrayal is never sudden. Betrayal does not start the day they cheat, steal, expose you, or walk away. The act you discover is only the final scene. Long before that, a psychological process has already been running in the background of their mind. Think of betrayal as a staged protocol: planning, distancing, justification, then execution. By the time you feel the knife, they have already rehearsed the motion in their head many times. They have imagined the consequences, adjusted their story, softened their guilt, and slowly downgraded you in their internal ranking. What feels sudden to you is only the moment you finally catch up to what their nervous system has been preparing for weeks or months. Leon Festinger, the father of cognitive dissonance theory, showed something that betrayers cannot escape. The human brain hates holding two clashing beliefs at the same time, like I am a good person, and I am about to do something that harms this person who trusts me. That clash creates pressure, a kind of mental discomfort that people will do almost anything to reduce. A betrayer does not wake up and say, "I am the villain now." Instead, the mind protects its self-image by slowly changing the story. It starts with small, quiet mental edits. You become less important, less kind, less loyal in their mind. They magnify your mistakes, replay your flaws, and downgrade your value until harming you feels less like cruelty and more like balance. This is where Baumeister and colleagues work on guilt and self-justification kicks in. Their research shows that people who are about to do something they know is wrong almost always construct a story where they are the victim or the hero, never the attacker. They say things like, "I had no choice. Anyone would have done the same," or "they deserved it." Notice the structure of those thoughts. Responsibility gets blurred, blame gets shifted, and the act becomes something they are forced into instead of something they chose. This story building does not happen after the betrayal as a reaction to guilt. It usually starts before the act, as mental preparation. The brain tries to protect itself ahead of time from the full impact of guilt by rewriting reality in advance. This is why betrayal has a pre-betrayal window. That is the period where the decision to betray is forming, but the action has not yet been taken. Intention is there, but execution is not. In that window, the nervous system leaks clues, because hiding sustained internal conflict perfectly is almost impossible. Studies on deception and cognitive load show that lying and double lives drain mental resources. Facial muscles tense more, speech patterns shift, emotional reactions become slightly off. They are still trying to look normal, but their behavior is now performing two roles at once: protect the secret and maintain the relationship. That dual task leaves micro cracks. During this pre-betrayal window, distancing begins. Emotionally, they pull away to feel less attached. Psychologically, they start separating their idea of themselves from their connection to you. Socially, they might reduce time with you, answer slower, or prefer different company. They are not just bored or busy. Often they are unconsciously protecting their future self from the weight of harming you. If they feel less close to you, the betrayal will sting their conscience less. This is moral anesthesia. They do not want to feel like they are hitting someone standing right beside them, so they slowly walk across the room first. At the same time, the justification engine speeds up. Baumeister's work on moral disengagement shows how people turn off their usual moral brakes. They give themselves excuses, downplaying the harm, blaming circumstances, blaming you, or comparing their act to something worse someone else did. They might say to themselves that you were ungrateful, controlling, weak, or disloyal. They might exaggerate minor conflicts to make their future act feel balanced. They do not need this story to be accurate. They just need it to be emotionally useful. The more they repeat it, the more real it feels to them, and the less guilty they feel about what they plan. Planning also happens quietly. Betrayal is rarely random. At work, someone planning to sabotage you has to gather information, build alliances, and position themselves to benefit once you fall. In relationships, someone planning to cheat has to build alternative connections, hide communication, and manage timing. This phase is cold and practical. While they are still smiling at you, they might also be testing how much access you have, how much evidence you could collect, or how easy it would be for others to believe their side of the story. They are not only thinking about what they want, they are thinking about risk. Every move they make in this stage is part of a calculation. How to get the reward with minimal guilt and minimal blowback. What makes this window dangerous for you is that you are usually still operating on the old story, that the relationship is intact, loyalty is mutual, and shared history protects you. That belief makes you slow. You explain away changes in their tone, their attention, their words. You tell yourself they are stressed, distracted, or going through a phase. You do not want to seem paranoid or insecure, and the culture around you has trained you that doubting people is worse than trusting the wrong person. Meanwhile, the betrayer is no longer in the same reality. In their mind, they have already started treating the connection as an expired contract that they simply have not informed you about yet. The key shift in this chapter is this: betrayal is not a surprise attack from nowhere. It is a slow psychological exit that the betrayer starts long before you notice. If you understand this, your role changes. You are no longer the shocked victim of sudden cruelty. You become an observer of patterns. Instead of asking, how could they do this overnight, you start asking, what changed in the weeks before this, and what did I ignore? The rest of this script is about that pre-betrayal window. It will show you how to study their language, their emotional tone, their kindness, and their structural behavior like forensic evidence. You will learn what to watch, what to test, and what signs are so serious that they demand a response, even if a part of you still hopes you are wrong. Chapter 2: How Their Words Betray Their Future. The first place betrayal leaks is in language. People can control their facial expressions for a while, but ordinary speech is automatic. The brain reveals where it is emotionally attached and where it is pulling away, through tiny word choices that most people never notice. James Pennebaker's research on function words, like pronouns and small connectors, shows that these tiny words predict hidden psychological states better than long, dramatic sentences. When someone is preparing to betray you, their pronouns often betray them first. Listen to shifts from we to I or you. At the start of a healthy alliance, people say things like, "We need to figure this out," or "We are good together." The word "we" holds shared fate. During the pre-betrayal phase, that often turns into "I think you should handle this," or "You will be fine." The shared field becomes two separate sides. This is not just grammar. It is psychological distancing. Their brain is removing you from their inner circle and speaking as if they are already on a different team. Pennebaker's findings show that people in disintegrating relationships naturally use fewer joint pronouns and more self-focused or other-focused language. Their tongue tells you that the bond in their mind is not the same as before. Another strong clue is what can be called the past tense tell. You hear phrases like, "We had a good run," "It was great working with you," or "Things used to be great between us." That language carries mental closure. Studies on relationship breakup patterns, including John Gottman's work, show that people often shift into past tense descriptions before any official separation. Internally, they have already decided that the peak of the connection is behind them. They speak as if the story is already ending, even if their actions have not caught up yet. When someone describes a living relationship as if it is a memory, you should treat that as a yellow light at minimum. Bella DePaulo's research on deception shows another key pattern. People who are hiding intentions, especially guilty ones, subtly reduce personal commitment in their words. They become more vague, more general, and more abstract. They give fewer concrete details and avoid strong, specific promises. Instead of "I will be there at 7, I am handling it," you hear "I will try," "We will see," or "Things might change." Direct answers turn into fog. They also rely more on rationalization phrases like, "It only makes sense that," "Any reasonable person would," or "You have to understand." Those phrases are not just used to convince you. They are part of the script they keep using to convince themselves that their shift is logical and justified. Listen closely to how they label you in your group. Someone who used to say "our team" or "our family" may start saying "you guys," "your side," or "the company" instead of "our company." These are distancing labels. They push you into an external category in their speech so they can feel less bound to you internally. This fits with findings from social psychology. The more an individual categorizes others as an outgroup, the easier it becomes to harm them, compete with them, or abandon them without heavy guilt. Their language shows where they have placed you, inside their circle or outside. There is also a rise in fatalistic language. You may hear more lines like "Things just happen," "It is what it is," or "Life takes people in different directions." These phrases sound harmless or even wise, but in the pre-betrayal context, they are excuses in disguise. They shift responsibility away from choices and toward fate, luck, or vague forces. If they can convince themselves that outcomes are just accidents of fate, then betraying you is not really a choice they are making. It is just how things go. This softens their guilt and prepares them to act without feeling like an active traitor. To use any of this, you need a baseline. Every person has a normal speaking style. Some people always talk vaguely. Some rarely use "we." Some use dark humor. Some do not. The point is not to panic over every small change, but to compare new patterns to what you know is usual for that specific person. If someone who has always said "we" suddenly shifts to "you" and "I" right after a new opportunity appears in their life, that is a signal. If a partner who always spoke about the future and clear plans starts talking in general fate language and lightly puts your relationship in the past tense, that is a signal. If a colleague who used to give concrete information suddenly becomes vague and over-rational when asked simple questions, that is a signal. Language leaks because the brain cannot serve two stories perfectly at the same time. Outwardly, they want to maintain the illusion that nothing has changed. Internally, they are already moving away. Their words end up being a compromise between these two realities. If you train yourself to hear shifts in pronouns, tense, detail level, and justification style, you stop relying on dramatic signs. You start catching betrayal long before it becomes an open act. Chapter 3. How Brain Reduces Guilt. Long before someone betrays you in action, they usually betray you in attention. The emotional pullback is rarely random. Social neuroscience work from researchers like John Cacioppo shows that the brain reacts strongly to social exclusion, both in giving it and receiving it. When someone plans to hurt you, their brain begins to detach first, as both a shield and a preparation. They do not want to feel the full emotional cost of what they are planning, so they quietly lower their emotional investment. You see it in small ways first. Reduced eye contact. Their gaze slides past you more often. They do not hold looks as long. When you speak, their eyes may drift to their phone, the door, anything else. Self-disclosure drops as well. They share fewer details about their inner world. their thoughts, or their worries. Where they once brought you into their private life, they now keep conversations on the surface or redirect them to neutral topics. Future talk dries up. They stop saying things like "next year we will," or "when we do this together." The future shrinks down to today, or becomes entirely about their individual path. Relationship research, including Gottman's, has mapped some of these shifts as early breakup signs. The tone grows colder, not always openly hostile, but less warm, less responsive. When you are stressed, they show less empathy. Their concern feels robotic or impatient. They might offer quick, practical advice instead of real emotional presence. In arguments, you might notice more stonewalling. They go silent, shut down, or give very short answers. Or they respond with low-level contempt, eye rolls, tiny smirks, a slightly mocking tone. These are micro acts of emotional devaluation. They are practicing seeing you as smaller, less worthy of care, and easier to disappoint. Baumeister's work on moral disengagement and dehumanization explains why this withdrawal shows up before the betrayal. To hurt someone without collapsing under guilt, people often subconsciously reduce how human and close that person feels. They might focus on your flaws, your worst moments, or your weaknesses. They stop seeing your full picture and focus on the parts that justify colder treatment. Once they have mentally shrunk you to an object in their plans, rather than a person with depth, they can execute the betrayal with far less internal resistance. You can also spot withdrawal in how they react to your successes and failures. Before, when you won, they might have felt genuine joy and pride. Now your wins seem to bother them or leave them neutral. They might downplay your success, change the subject, or make a small negative comment hidden in a joke. When you fail or struggle, they may show less urgency to support you. This is not simple moodiness. It is a shift in alignment. Internally, they are no longer fully on your side. They are already standing in a spot where your pain is less their problem and more an external event. Another marker is emotional mirroring. Healthy bonds naturally involve some mirroring of emotions. When you are sad, they soften. When you are excited, they join in. In the pre-betrayal phase, that mirroring weakens or disappears. You might share something important and get a flat, mismatched response. They seem tuned to a different frequency. That is because their emotional energy is now invested elsewhere, maybe in a new partner, a different friend group, a new boss, or simply in their own private plans. At this stage, many people being betrayed make a classic mistake. They try to chase, fix, or over-explain. They sense the withdrawal, but instead of reading it as a possible early warning, they frame it as a misunderstanding, burnout, or personal failure. They work harder to please, accommodate, or reassure. That extra effort often gives the betrayer even more power and even less guilt. If you are clinging, you are making it easier for them to see you as dependent and weak, which feeds their internal narrative that leaving or hurting you is somehow justified. Emotional withdrawal is the brain's way of saying, "I am about to do something that hurts this person, so I cannot afford to feel too close to them." If you learn to see this process, you can choose a different response. Instead of panicking and pouring in more effort, you can step back, cool your own emotions, and start observing more clinically. Are they just stressed, or is their withdrawal consistent, linked with other cues like language shifts and secrecy? When you treat their emotional distance as possible data, instead of a personal verdict on your worth, you regain some power. You stop begging for warmth from someone who might already be rehearsing your exit. Chapter 4. When guilt buys you a gift. Not all pre-betrayal signs are cold. Sometimes the most dangerous signal is sudden warmth. Right before the hit, many betrayers experience rising guilt, and their mind looks for ways to calm it. One of the easiest ways is to do something nice. This is the kindness spike. Unexpected favors, gifts, compliments, or sudden support that does not fit their usual pattern. On the surface, it looks like affection. Underneath, it is often guilt management. Baumeister and Exline's research on guilt and pro-social behavior shows that people often use kind acts to regulate their own guilt. We like to think repair comes after harm, but often the mind tries to pay in advance. If they know they are about to cheat, sabotage, or abandon you, doing something generous first helps them feel more balanced. In their story, they are not just the person who did the bad thing. They are also the person who did something nice. That split image makes it easier for them to proceed. They can think, I am not a monster. I did this good thing for them. The kindness is for their conscience, not for you. You need to separate normal, consistent kindness from the red flag pattern. Consistent kindness matches who they are over time. It is steady, predictable, and not tied to strange timing. The danger sign is kindness that is out of character, disproportionate, or strangely timed. Someone who has been distant for weeks suddenly buys you a big gift. A colleague who has been excluding you from meetings suddenly sings your praises to the boss out of nowhere. A partner who has been emotionally cold suddenly plans an elaborate date night or weekend away, right before a trip, a promotion, or a major life change on their side. Timing is critical. Sudden niceness often follows their secret meetings, private decisions, or steps closer to their betrayal plan. They may have just confirmed a new job where they are leaving you behind, secured a deal that cuts you out, or deepened contact with a new lover. Their guilt spikes, so they compensate. In some cases, they are also trying to secure your blind trust right before they move. If you are relaxed, flattered, and emotionally soothed by their sudden generosity, you are less likely to question their behavior or expect a blow. The kindness acts like a smokescreen. This niceness has two functions. First, it reduces their psychological discomfort. By doing something good for you in advance, they prepay their guilt. Second, it creates confusion in you. Humans are quick to update their beliefs from recent experiences. If someone hurts you 10 times but is suddenly very kind, your brain is tempted to focus on the latest act and discount the pattern. You tell yourself that maybe they are changing, maybe they do care, maybe you were too hard on them. That doubt is exactly what benefits a betrayer. It buys them time and deeper access. You should not treat every generous act as a sign of betrayal, but you should never look at kindness in isolation. Always pair it with other signals. Ask, has their language shifted from we to I? Have they been emotionally withdrawing, less invested in your life? Have they increased secrecy or changed how they manage information around you? Sudden generosity on top of those changes is not just kindness, it is a possible guilt flare. That is when you quietly switch from gratitude only to observation. Testing this is simple and subtle. When the kindness spike arrives, gently push a boundary in a low-risk way. Ask for a small favor that would require real effort or loyalty, not just money or surface-level gestures. Mention a tiny controlled secret and see if it leaks. Suggest a plan that binds you together in the near future and watch their reaction. Do they tense up, deflect, or over-rationalize? True loyalty handles deeper commitment calmly. Guilt-driven kindness often crumbles when faced with added responsibility, because their real plan is to create distance, not closeness. The main point, stop seeing sudden niceness as pure proof of love or respect, especially if it shows up against a background of earlier distancing. In the Judas protocol, generosity can be a bribe their conscience pays to their guilt. When you can see that, you stop being emotionally disarmed by gifts and sweet words. You accept the kindness, but you also read it as data. That cold layer of awareness is what protects you. Chapter 5. Structural Shifts of Betrayal. Betrayal is not only emotional and verbal, it is logistical. To betray you in any serious way, people usually need to change structures around you. Access, information flow, alliances, and backup plans. These are the practical steps of the Judas protocol. While you are busy feeling how they act around you, they are quietly rearranging how the environment treats you. Start with access. Bella DePaulo's work on deception and information control shows that liars and secret keepers start managing what others can see. In pre-betrayal phases, phones become more guarded, screens are turned away, Messages are cleared faster, passwords change, and shared devices become private. Schedules turn vague. Instead of clear plans, you get loose explanations, late meetings, uncertain timings, new obligations that do not quite add up. They may claim they need more space or alone time, but the use of that time becomes less transparent. The core shift is this: areas of life that were once open to you are now partially or fully closed. Then look at information flow. You might notice they stop looping you into key conversations. In a workplace, you are suddenly left off important emails, chats, or meetings. People mention discussions you were not invited to about topics that directly involve you. In relationships or friendships, they might make decisions that affect both of you without asking your input. Trips, plans, financial choices, or joint commitments become things they tell you about after the fact, not things they discuss with you in advance. These are not just respect issues, they are structural signs that they are repositioning themselves away from shared decision-making. Alliances are another silent shift. Impression management research from Mark Leary shows that people care a lot about how they are seen by key audiences. Betrayers often start grooming their image with others before the act. They might subtly complain about you, share half-truths, or present themselves as patient, burdened, or misunderstood. The goal is simple. When they finally strike, they want others to see them as justified or even admirable. This looks like small, seemingly harmless remarks, mild criticism slipped into jokes, stories where they were the reasonable person and you were difficult, hints that you are unreliable or unstable. These small seeds create a narrative that makes your future pain look like a rational outcome instead of cruelty. Structural shifts also show up in dependency patterns. Someone who is planning to leave or betray will often decrease their practical dependence on you. At work, they may start learning tasks they used to rely on you for, or shifting responsibilities quietly away from you. In personal life, they might build new sources of emotional, financial, or social support. New friends, new mentors, new contacts. They build side networks that can hold them once they drop you. At the same time, they may show unusual interest in your weaknesses, your finances, your reputation, your fears, your secrets. They are not just curious. They are gathering leverage or planning how the fallout will play out. Secretive communication channels are a major tell. New email accounts, new apps, heavily used private chats, sudden work calls they have to take in another room. None of these alone prove betrayal, but together with other signs, they show that part of their life is being walled off. Betrayers need these walls to coordinate with whoever benefits from your downfall or replacement. For example, a coworker who is arranging to take your role will build trust with your boss or clients behind your back. A partner planning to leave may be texting a new person heavily while becoming colder with you. Concrete pre-betrayal markers look like this: increased secrecy around devices and whereabouts, being cut out of decisions that used to involve you, growing intimacy between them and someone who benefits from your loss, and a careful narrative being presented to others where you are slowly cast as the problem. They might also subtly test how others react to negative stories about you. If people nod along or stay silent, that tells them the ground is safe for a harsher move later. By the time you notice open sabotage, the social structure around you has often already been bent against you. Most targets miss these shifts because they are focused on direct behavior, not indirect systems. They ask, "Are they being nice to me?" instead of, "What are they quietly changing around me?" But power lives more in structures than in smiles. When someone cuts your access to information, weakens your alliances, and builds escape routes for themselves, they are telling you their future intentions without saying a word. If you want to stop being blindsided, start watching what they are changing in the environment and in your shared systems, not just what they are saying to your face. Chapter 6: How to Test, Expose, and Protect Yourself. Once you can see the Judas protocol, you have a choice. You can panic, confront wildly, or cling harder. Or you can do what most people never do: respond strategically. The goal is not to become paranoid and isolate yourself. The goal is to stop offering full access and blind loyalty to people who are already rehearsing your downfall. That means testing, adjusting, and protecting without drama. Start with probing. You do not need big traps, just small, controlled tests of loyalty. Share a low-stakes piece of information with them that would be slightly tempting to misuse but not ruinous if leaked. Then watch what happens. Does it reach people it should not? Do you feel it being used subtly against you? Ask for a minor favor that requires them to stand on your side in a small way, like backing you up on a simple work point or supporting a harmless plan that benefits you both. If they dodge, stall, or betray that small test, they are showing how they will behave under higher stakes. Subtle setups reveal real alignments. Game theory, like Robert Axelrod's work on strategies of cooperation, suggests a simple rule: match and escalate carefully. If they become distant, you do not rush in closer. You mirror a mild distance while staying calm and polite. If they reduce access, you quietly reduce access on your side. If they stop sharing key information, you stop feeding them yours. This is not revenge, it is risk control. You are updating the level of trust based on evidence, not on history or hope. That adjustment alone often protects you from the worst damage, because it limits what they can use or take when they finally act. Confrontation needs care. Cognitive dissonance science shows that when people are forced to defend their choices aggressively, they often double down, even if they were unsure before. If you attack them loudly with accusations, you corner them into choosing between confessing and protecting their self-image. Most will protect their self-image, harden their story against you, and accelerate the betrayal. That does not mean you should never confront. It means the way you do it matters. Calm, specific, non-dramatic statements often work better than emotional explosions. For example, saying that you have noticed certain changes, that you are adjusting your boundaries accordingly, and that you wish them well regardless, puts the focus on your actions, not on forcing them to admit anything. Sometimes the most powerful move is quiet withdrawal of resources. If you suspect someone at work is grooming your downfall, stop giving them free information, ideas, or access to your contacts. Document your work more carefully, build your own alliances, and keep critical knowledge traceable. In relationships, if you sense betrayal forming, start separating finances, strengthening your own social network, and emotionally stabilizing yourself so you do not break if they leave. These are not paranoid acts. They are the basic security steps that emotionally naive people never take until it is too late. Build a betrayal risk map of your life. Ask yourself, very bluntly, who has the most leverage over me right now? Who knows my secrets, controls my money, my reputation, my access to opportunity? Who would benefit if I failed, disappeared, or stepped aside? Where are my blind spots, the relationships I never question because I do not want to? This is not about accusing everyone around you. It is about seeing where you are most exposed. People in power do this all the time. They know who can hurt them, so they either keep those people close with clear terms, limit their access, or hold counter leverage. You do not need to be ruthless, but you do need to stop living as if everyone around you is harmless. Finally, reframe preventative paranoia as tactical awareness. You are not required to trust people completely just because you love them, work with them, or share history. You can care about someone and still admit that they have motives, pressures, and weaknesses that could someday place them against you. That is not cynicism. That is adult realism. Trust becomes safer when it is not blind. The Judas protocol is only powerful against people who refuse to see it. Once you know that betrayal is almost never sudden, you stop being the easy victim who says, "I never saw it coming." You start being the person who notices the pronoun change, the cold tone, the kindness spike, the closed doors, and quietly shifts position before the knife is even raised. You have learned how to spot the layout of a trap. But you are still walking around with your defenses down. There is a class of predators called social engineers. They do not force their way into your life. They hack your empathy, your guilt, and your trust to get you to open the door. To stop them, you cannot just be tough. you must be encrypted. You need to learn how to separate what you feel from what you show. A technique that makes you impossible to profile and impossible to steer. The countermeasure is ready. Click the video.